the tiger and the grass. Now, normally you would do a background first. That's almost a golden rule, but because these are all small parts, small shapes, it doesn't matter so much. If you're doing a sky and you're doing a wash, the idea of the wash is to go from one side of the picture to the other in one go with no lumps and bumps or broken bits. And that's why you would load up your brush, you do your wash first, and then you would go from side to side like we did with the seascapes and things like that, and do it in one foul swoop. This is not like that. These are just, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle really. Now I put some really dark in there, really dark blue, and I want to do something a bit brighter, so I'm going to add a bit more of my ultramarine in. Let's have a look at it. It's good, but it's a bit thick, so I'm going to add some water to it on the same consistency. I'm going to start adding some in here behind the ear, so that it's like a dark background, but also it's a contrast with the orange and things like that. Now I'm thinking these are lots of grasses and things like that, so what I might do is red is a good contrast with green, so I may put some dark mauvey red kind of colours into the background on this side. So I'm putting some red in with the purple I mixed, and I put a tiny bit of the bottle green. Now bottle green is particularly good for knocking back crimson, because they're both made out of blue. And again, that third primary colour, that yellow, would muck it up even further, and I want to be in control as to how mucky it gets. So if I keep what that colour is made with the same, it just controls how muddy your colour gets. We are in charge. We want to decide what our colours are like. Okay, so I've knocked that red back, quite like that. And again, it's a background colour, so I want it to recede. So it's quite dull. And I can start thinking about putting them in to my background between the grasses. Again, this is layer 1. And then I can layer them up and decide how bright I want them, and if I want the grass to be really bright and if I want my red to be really dark, I can put more layers of my red on, and then I can keep my grass light and airy and just have 1 or 2 really light layers with the yellow and the pale green. So check that bottom. I'm entirely happy with that. So yeah, just picked up a little bit of red, scrubbed it and picked it up, and it won't affect my green anymore. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more definition of the face of the tiger, just to finish this off a little bit more. I'm going to go back to my source picture, and one thing I wanted to tell you about is I wanted to make a black. Now we don't use black out the tube. What we do is you make an orange, so with your cadmium red and your cadmium yellow, or lemon yellow in this case, red and yellow, you make your orange, and then what you do is you add blue in it, and it will go kind of a browny colour, and then you keep adding blue until it nearly turns black. The reason why I say that is that black is mainly made out of blue. So all the people that I've talked to, a lot of people, and they don't like this, don't like not using black. And the reason why is that, say you want to make a darker version of yellow, if you mix black, the tubed black, into a yellow, it will turn it green. It won't just make that yellow darker. So what we have to do is we have to make what's called a warm black, which is a black which is made out of well, I'm going off piste now, but made out of orange, and then you make it into brown by adding blue, and then you add more blue to it, and then you mix it black. So that's a better brown, and then I add more blue to it to make it black. It's not a strict black. It's what's called a warm black. So it's not quite, it's like a grey. And the more intense you want your black to be, or your grey to be, the more colour you put in there. But I'm just putting my first layers of black in there, just to give my face a little bit more form. And my face is nice and dry, which is great. So I've decided, sticking with the face in my Franz Marc painting, I'm going to have just a straight triangle for the nose. So you see, it's not a straight black, it is more of a grey. Now I'm going to put black around the eyes. Then I'm going to put just a delicate amount of black. I don't want to go too heavy with the black. I want to get the shapes I'm interested in. So I've put some of the lines in there, and now I want to soften the inside edge like this. Now, because this is a grey that you can use on anything to make it a little bit darker. So for instance, oh hang on, I'll just soften in this first. So I'm creating my shapes now. But say you want this red to be a little bit darker. You've made your red, and then you can put your grey on top of your red, and it makes your red darker, and you can just blend it in, and you can use it for extra drama in your picture. And you can do that over the blue as well. So this recipe for grey, which is you make orange with cadmium red and cadmium yellow, then you add blue to it, and it will go a brown colour when you put enough blue into it, and then you keep putting blue into it, and that brown will turn into a grey, and then you can use it on anything like that. So for instance, if I wanted to put some grey over the orange leg, I could dab it on here, and then you just use a bit of water, and then you pull it up, and it stops you making your orange that you mixed dirty. It's just adding that extra shade that you want, that's quite subtle. But you can also use your grey in order to create any details that you want. And like I say, it's very useful for giving your face more form and using the shapes that you've made in your drawing. I'm a bit not happy with this bit here, so I'm just going to give it a little scrub, and it will become lighter like that. Okay, well, I'm going to call it there for today, and I'll paint it and I'll show you what it looks like at the end of the week. But hopefully that's given you enough of an idea of how you could make yourself a nice Franz Marc abstract tiger. I hope you enjoyed the project. Speak to you soon.